Hey creative friends, welcome to my channel and welcome to another Mix It Up Monday. And in this video, I'm going to be doing a couple of different soups. The first one I'm going to do is a potato soup mix. I love this one because there's so many ways I can use it. I'll tell you about that as I'm making it. But I do want to point out, just a reminder, that this calls for 1.5 cups of dry milk. Now dry milk is just that, it's dried milk. It's not instant dry milk. So I want to show you what I have here just as a reminder. This is what I get. I get it from our restaurant supply. It's from Monarch, and it is non-fat milk powder. This is different than instant. Instant milk is like puffed up. If you look at it, you know, really close, it looks like little bits of popcorn because it's puffed up and it's ready to absorb liquid. So it's instant. This is not instant. This you actually have to put in warm water and reconstitute it and stuff. So it's dry milk, and I get this. It's distributed, U.S. Foods distributed, and it's from Monarch, and this is what I get to use, and it's great. Now, if you don't have this and you're using instant milk for these recipes, you need to double it, because it takes twice as much instant milk to make the same amount of milk product, I guess you'd say. So what this is potato soup mix, and this is in the PDF that is listed in the description. You can get this in there. One of the things that I like about using this is because one of my favorite things is to take some onion and chopped up bacon and, you know, stir or fry that up, and then put this soup mix in with the water and work it. And then you can do a lot of things. Like I could put a jar of home canned tuna in there and make it like a tuna chowder. I could do a jar of home canned clam chowder base and do a clam chowder. I could put a jar of home canned corn in there and make it a corn chowder. So there's a bunch you can do with it, but it's a basic potato soup mix. And it's going to start with 1 3/4 cups of instant mashed potato flakes. And I like to use these also in my bread making. So I have this, and anytime I actually boil potatoes, I save that water, and I'll use that water when I make bread, because the potato in the bread mix really helps the bread turn out nicely. 1.5 cups of that dried milk I just talked about. 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, which I have granules, which I have there. 2 teaspoons of dried minced onion. I'm almost out of that. I use so much of it. And then in here I have a teaspoon of dried parsley, 1/4 teaspoon of ground white pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground turmeric, and 1.5 teaspoons of seasoned salt. All that's going to go in there. And now I'm just going to use my cool little mixer. This is for my mix. Now this is probably going to go in a pint jar. And then I will put I always do the label and the instructions on here. So see, I went ahead and I photocopied this, and I cut out potato soup mix and then the instructions, and I just put them on a tape like that. That's just packing tape, and I'm going to put that on the jar. So this is the first soup that I'm going to make, and I want to make it nice and mixed up. And then of course, before I use it, I'll give the jar a good shake. And the instructions for this is simply to take 1/2 cup of the soup mix in a bowl and stir a cup of water in with it. So basically, that's all you do. But you increase that if you want to use it for, like, maybe if I'm going to make a tuna chowder or a clam chowder, I could just get some clams and put in there. Oyster stew, this would be a great base for that. If I wanted to put some oysters in there and make a yummy oyster stew. All right, now I'm going to go get my pint jar, and we will start pouring this in there. So simple and so good. All right, I am loving these Mondays because I've got so much good stuff on my shelf to make good meals with. All right, now I'm just going to fill this in here. And then this should fill this jar pretty full, and that should give me several servings. some things I make a lot of, like the Master Mix, and I'll put some of that in the freezer because I use that for so many different things, but we're not going to have this kind of soup very often. I'm going to get my little towel here, tap that on that towel, get that packed down in the jar. And the next thing I'm going to do is basically a condensed cream of chicken soup, or I'm going to divide it in half and make a cream of beef as well because I can use that for a lot of different things. Okay. Alrighty. That's all of it. Okay, so there we have it. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the lid vacuum sealed on here, and then I will come back and we will do the second type of soup. Alright, here we are, and now we are going to make it's basically a condensed chicken, like cream of chicken soup, or I'm also going to do one for beef. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the main mix, and then it says to add either your chicken bouillon or your beef bouillon to that. So what I've got here to start is 2 cups of non-fat dry milk. And so what I'm going to do is the unflavored stuff. Then I'm going to separate it into my jars and add the bouillon to those 2 jars. So I have a chicken and a beef one. So this is 2 cups of non-fat dried milk, and then 3/4 of a cup of cornstarch. And then this is also in the print off that you can have in the description. Then in here is a 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, a 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil, a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, and I'm going to mix that in. So what it will tell you, if you're going to do this whole batch as one flavor, you would put a 1/4 of a cup of either beef or chicken granules in it, but I'm going to do a beef and chicken. So I'm going to make the base, and then I'm going to put it in the 2 jars and add 1/8 of a cup of the beef or chicken granules. I have no idea what Snickers is barking at. Brian is out working in the yard, and I think he hears him. So let me mix this up nice. Get this really well mixed in. Okay. And now I'm going to use my funnel, and I'm going to do one of each here. Oh, I know why. Snickers is waiting for our son's dog. Zyla is here visiting. Okay. Zyla, no. Okay, I got dogs now. So this is going to make just the right amount. Here we go. That's about right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bouillon in here and just mix it up in the jar. And these jars will not be used for canning because I may be using a metal utensil with them, which is something you have to be careful of so that you don't scratch the inside of your jars and then use them for canning, because you can create a little micro scratch that will cause your jar to break in the canning process. So you don't want that to happen. Cornstarch goes everywhere. Okay, so one of these is going to be chicken and one of these is going to be beef. And now, Zyla, I'm just going to mix that up. I wonder if I get my, I'll get my little whisk here. There we go. Get that mixed in, and then I'll give it a good shake. There we go. Okay. Let me get that cleaned off of there. Got 2 of these. Here we go. This one. No, we're going to mix this one up. It's the chicken, and this is the beef. I better keep that in mind before I label them. Alright, so that's good. This is going to make a perfect, and so the mixture is basically you're going to use 1/3 of a cup of this to 1 1/4 cups of water, and that will equal a can of condensed soup. like cream of chicken. There you have it. So now I'm going to label these and I'm going to seal them and I'll be right back. All right, there you have it. I have my potato soup mix, my beef condensed soup mix with the instructions there, and my chicken condensed soup mix. So I have those ready to go whenever I need them in a recipe. So I hope you guys give this a try, and whatever you make with it, let me know. I'd love to hear your ideas. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.